The prisoner kneels in the mud, his body trembling not only from the cold but from the weight of what is to come. The earth beneath him is slick and unforgiving, a silent witness to countless rituals before. His back is bare to the biting Nordic wind, skin prickling as icy gusts cut through the morning air. Each breath is a struggle, each heartbeat echoing the dread that fills the space around him. A crowd gathers, faces set in grim anticipation. This is no ordinary execution. Men, women, and even children stand shoulder to shoulder, their eyes fixed on the prisoner, their silence heavy with centuries of tradition. It is a ritual, a chilling offering to the gods. The air is thick with incense and the scent of pine, mingling with the metallic tang of fear. The chieftain steps forward, knife gleaming in the dawn. His presence commands respect, his eyes cold and resolute, embodying the will of the gods and the law of the clan. Silence reigns, heavy with fear and expectation. Even the wind seems to pause, as if nature itself is holding its breath for what is about to unfold. The Blood Eagle is about to begin, a ceremony of ultimate Viking vengeance. Its name is whispered with awe and terror, a legend that chills the blood of even the bravest warriors. Reserved for the gravest crimes, it is meant to destroy body and spirit. The condemned is not just punished, but transformed into a symbol of ultimate retribution. Each movement is deliberate, every cut a sacred act. The ritual is performed with a precision passed down through generations, every gesture loaded with meaning. The victim becomes a warning, a grotesque effigy for all to see. His suffering is a message, a deterrent to those who might defy the gods or the chieftain's rule. The ritual is slow, steeped in symbolism, a communion with the divine through blood and bone. Each drop spilled is an offering, each bone exposed a prayer for favor or forgiveness. This is not justice, but a restoration of cosmic balance. The act is meant to appease the gods, to realign the world after it has been thrown into chaos by betrayal or grave offense. The onlookers are participants, their presence reinforcing the chieftain's power. Their silent approval is as important as the ritual itself, binding the community together in shared belief and fear. A low chant rises, a plea to Odin to accept the sacrifice. The words are ancient, echoing across the ages, a bridge between the mortal and the divine. The Blood Eagle's name evokes both majesty and terror, the eagle a symbol of Odin himself. Its wings represent freedom and death, soaring above the mortal world, ever watchful. To carve this symbol is to send a message to Asgard. It is a declaration of loyalty, a desperate hope that the gods will hear and respond. The ritual weaves vengeance, justice, and faith into a single, unforgettable act. It is a moment when the boundaries between man and God, life and death, are blurred. Here the sacred and the profane are joined in blood. The altar becomes a threshold, a place where the living commune with the divine through sacrifice. The Viking world's raw heart beats in this dark spectacle. In the flickering torchlight, fear and awe mingle, and the memory of the Blood Eagle lingers long after the ritual ends. The Blood Eagle was reserved for the most unforgivable crimes, acts that shattered the very foundation of Viking society. This was not a punishment handed out lightly, nor was it used for petty disputes or minor betrayals. It was a sentence reserved for those whose actions threatened the very heart of the clan. Most often, the Blood Eagle was inflicted upon those who had committed the gravest offense, the murder of a chieftain or his kin. Such a crime was seen as an attack not just on an individual, but on the entire lineage and legacy of a family. In Viking society, kinship was everything. An attack on family was an attack on the entire clan. The bonds of blood and loyalty were sacred, and to break them was to invite chaos and endless cycles of revenge. Such a crime demanded a response that was both spectacular and terrifying. The punishment had to match the enormity of the offense, serving as a warning to all who might consider similar treachery. Power rested on loyalty, honor, and the ever-present threat of violence. A chieftain's rule was only as strong as his ability to command respect and instill fear in those who would oppose him. A chieftain's strength was measured by his ability to avenge his own. If he failed to respond to an attack on his family, he risked losing face, authority, and ultimately, his position as leader. Simple execution was not enough. Only super vengeance would restore honor. The punishment had to be so severe that it would erase the shame of the crime and re-establish the chieftain's dominance. The Blood Eagle was the ultimate answer, a punishment so extreme it ended feuds and deterred rivals. Its brutality was legendary, and its memory lingered long after the act itself. It was a political act as much as a religious one, declaring the chieftain's ruthlessness and divine favor. By invoking the gods and performing the ritual in public, the leader demonstrated that he was both feared by men and favored by higher powers. The public nature of the ritual ensured the message spread far and wide. News of the blood eagle would travel across villages and fjords, carried by witnesses and survivors alike. All who witnessed it understood. To challenge this leader was to risk a fate worse than death. The horror of the ritual was meant to haunt the minds of all who saw or heard of it, ensuring obedience through fear. The blood eagle was a tool of control, wrapped in the language of sacrifice and honor. It was a way to transform personal vengeance into a public spectacle, reinforcing the social order. It was the final act in a cycle of vengeance, closing the book on blood feuds. Once the ritual was complete, the debt of blood was considered paid, and the community could move forward, at least until the next betrayal. In this world, honor was life, and the blood eagle was its most brutal guardian. The threat of such a fate kept the fragile peace, binding the community together through shared fear and respect. The ritual's horror was its power. In the end, the blood eagle was more than just a punishment. It was a message, carved in flesh, that echoed through generations. The blood eagle's process was methodical and intimate. The victim was restrained, back exposed. The executioner carved an eagle's outline with a sharp knife. Then ribs were hacked from the spine and pried outward, forming wings. The chest cavity was opened, organs exposed. The lungs were pulled out and draped over the ribs, creating the illusion of blood-soaked wings. Some accounts claim the victim's final breaths made the lungs flutter. Salt was rubbed into the wounds, maximizing agony. This was not just execution, it was calculated, ritualized terror. The blood eagle was a message written in flesh. The blood eagle was more than just a brutal execution. It was a sacred sacrifice to Odin, the All-Father, revered above all other gods in the Norse pantheon. This ritual was not only about punishment, but about forging a connection between the mortal world and the divine. Odin, the god of war, wisdom and death, demanded powerful offerings from his followers. He was believed to grant victory, knowledge, and even poetic inspiration, but only to those who proved their devotion through extraordinary acts. The eagle, Odin's sacred animal, symbolized his far-reaching power. Carving its image onto the victim's back was a tribute, a way to invoke Odin's presence and favor during the ritual. By offering an enemy in this gruesome way, Vikings hoped to gain Odin's blessing in both war and daily life. They believed such sacrifices could turn the tide of battle or bring prosperity to their people. Sacrifice was at the very heart of Norse faith. Animals, horses, goats, and even cattle were commonly offered, but in times of great crisis or need, humans might be chosen as the ultimate gift to the gods. The blood eagle, if it truly existed, represented the apex of this tradition, a ritual so extreme that it blurred the line between devotion and horror. The suffering of the victim was not incidental, it was essential. The more profound the pain and endurance, the more powerful the message sent to the gods, demonstrating the community's willingness to go to any lengths for Odin's favor. For the Viking community, participating in or witnessing the ritual was a way to engage with the divine, to reaffirm their shared beliefs, and to strengthen their place within the cosmic order of gods and men. In these moments, vengeance and worship became inseparable, merging the desire for justice with the hope for divine intervention. The blood eagle was where earthly justice met the will of the gods, a terrifying, awe-inspiring act that echoed through Viking legend and history. Was the blood eagle real, or a legend born of fear? For centuries it was accepted as fact, drawn from Norse sagas and poetry. But modern scholars question its reality. No contemporary account confirms it. Most descriptions were written centuries later, often by Christian authors eager to demonize pagans. Anatomically, survival through the ritual seems unlikely. Some suggest the eagle was a poetic metaphor for a brutal death, not a literal act. The debate endures with no definitive archaeological evidence. The truth may forever remain in the shadows between myth and history. The blood eagle's story lives in the Norse sagas and skaldic poetry. The Orkneyinga saga and Harald's saga Harfagra both describe the ritual, linking it to vengeance and sacrifice. These accounts are consistent, but the sagas are not strict history. They blend fact, legend, and Christian perspective. Skaldic poetry like Knutstrapa uses ambiguous language. Carving the eagle may be metaphorical. The saga's authors crafted compelling tales, sometimes sensationalizing the past. Are these literal descriptions or poetic ways to describe a violent death? The ambiguity fuels debate. Was the blood eagle a real ritual or a powerful literary image? The sagas give us clues but not certainty. The line between history and myth remains blurred. The most famous blood eagle tale is that of Ragnar Lothbrok and King Aella. After Ragnar's death in a snake pit, his sons, led by Ivar the Boneless, invaded England to avenge him. They captured Aella and, according to the sagas, subjected him to the blood eagle. This act was the ultimate vengeance, matching the insult of Ragnar's death with a spectacle of suffering. The story became a foundational Viking myth, justifying conquest and inspiring fear. Whether true or not, it encapsulates the Viking code: honor, revenge, and legendary justice. The blood eagle became the seal of their victory. Ragnar's legacy was written in blood and legend. English sources like the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle offer a different view. They record the Viking invasions and King Aella's death, but never mention the blood eagle. This silence is telling. If such a ritual occurred, it likely would have been noted. The absence suggests the blood eagle story grew later, perhaps to glorify Viking victories. The chronicles focus on the terror and devastation wrought by the Norse, not ritualized executions. In this climate of fear, tales of extreme brutality took root and spread. The blood eagle became a symbol of pagan fury, real or imagined. Sometimes the most powerful stories are born from silence. Centuries later, the blood eagle still haunts our imagination. Its blend of ritual, violence, and mystery makes it irresistible to storytellers. Modern media use it as shorthand for Viking savagery and the alien world of the Norse. The debate over its reality only deepens its allure. The blood eagle challenges us to confront the darkest corners of human belief and justice. It is a story that blurs the line between history and myth, horror and faith. We are drawn to it for its power to shock, to fascinate, to make us question. Whether fact or fiction, it endures as a symbol of the Viking Age's complexity. The shadow of the blood eagle lingers, a dark echo from a world both distant and disturbingly close. Some legends never die, they only grow sharper with time.